Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to the Jay and
Jay.
the Joe
I'm
show.
Jay, she Joe.
She Joe, because sometimes we have it confused, but just put it up there.
Yeah, because my name is Josh, you're Joe, so Joanne, Josh, Joe. Anyways, welcome back. We're excited. What are we talking about today, sweetheart?
Red flags.
Red flags in relationships, how to watch out for them, how to know them,
How to recognize
and
them.
how to avoid them.
Yeah.
So we are excited. We're going to be jumping in. Welcome back, everybody who's been watching.
Yeah, shout out to you.
To the family, the returning subscribers. Actually, we also have some beef. These returning viewers, they return to watch our content, but they don't subscribe. They're giving me red flag energy. You're giving me red flag energy. You're the people we're talking about today. Anyways, let's dive in and see what we're talking about. If we are to determine it, what is a red flag? If I say I'm in a relationship, I don't know what a red flag is. How would you help somebody do that?
So red flags, like we said, it's really a stop sign. The things that shouldn't be just walked over.
The things that shouldn't be ignored.
Ignored. That's
in
the
relationships.
word. Exactly. And in later on, build up into something problematic. They shouldn't be ignored. They should be solved. And sometimes
addressed.
Sometimes they're not solvable. So if you're going forward, go forward at your own risk.
With acknowledging that there's stop signs that I've seen and I've tried to acknowledge them, I've tried to solve them and they're not solving, and so I'm gonna move forward, but I'm accepting this is what is gonna be there.
Exactly.
And I think one of the biggest things is in dealing with red flags is understanding like who the person is on a deeper, intimate level. By analytically. Yes, I was right.
Yeah.
Give me a high five.
It's just the way you said it, analytically.
By understanding someone in detail, observational.
Yeah. The minute
details. Like when I see me and Joanne, I had to see her. And to understand. Without the mirage or the blinder or the filter, the filter of love.
The lens, yeah.
The lens. How am I looking at this person? How am I observing this person?
So you tap out of the emotion and think logically. And
a logical application to the relationship, okay? And so I looked at Joanne analytically and I said, is this someone I can be with? What are the red flags that are there? Okay, are they solvable? Okay, if they're not solvable, am I okay to live with them? And Joanne, I'm thankful, had not so many red flags, but here's something I want to say to everybody. Everyone has red flags. Even you got red flags.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have things, like we talked about in the last episode, which you can find right here, is childhood trauma. Like, how do you bring that into the relationship? And if you've healed from that. So many people walk into relationships not understanding that someone that they're going into is carrying so much with them.
Yeah.
But because we have a lens,
of love.
The lens of love, the lens of beauty, the lens of provision. A lot of women go and they get into relationships because they know the man
said,
is going to provide.
As I cry in a Range Rover, it's okay.
If I cry in a mansion,
they can cheat on me.
I'm blind. Have you seen that TikTok that says
as long as I cry while I chew on some
nice
chicken, I am okay. Some 5-course meal. I'm okay. That is just not okay.
It's not okay. And so when we look at these lenses that we have in our relationship, what is the determining factor? How they make you feel, who they know, how much money they have, how handsome they are. All these things, we go into the relationship because of that thing, and it draws us deeply. Right? And so when we remove the filter, the lens, that thing that we like so much about the person, and we look at them and we see the red flags, it goes into understanding those 3 things. What is it? What are the 3 things, baby?
Avoid.
No.
Recognize.
Acknowledge.
Acknowledge.
Avoid.
dang, you're so small.
Come on, recognize, acknowledge, avoid.
It's so important that you say that the things that blind us to us recognizing the red flags. And sometimes we attach how we feel to the person. We say, if they make me feel like I am provided for, if they make me feel good because
Make
they
me
bought
feel
me,
safe.
made me feel safe, that means they're safe.
Yeah.
If they make me feel great, that means they're great. And these are two independent factors. Just because
Someone
I
makes you
make
feel
you
a
feel
way.
that way, it doesn't mean they're that way, because your feeling could be because there was lack of in the previous, in a some moment of your time.
For example, great example.
Yeah.
Perfect words. Wow.
Okay.
Guys, can we just like and comment that my wife is the smartest woman in the world? She
In the
said,
world.
and she's
Sorry.
so she said just because someone makes you feel this way isn't really what's going on, because maybe you didn't have it before.
Yeah.
So if someone comes and he treats you so nice and he makes you feel safe, you think, oh, this is a safe person. But maybe it's because when you were growing up, you always felt like you had to defend for yourself. If someone goes and buys you a dinner plate, you say, wow, he's gonna be a good provider.
Yeah.
Why? Just because he bought you
No
a
one
plate?
bought you a
But you
dinner
don't
plate
understand the way it actually is in a lifestyle with the person. And that's why when you're dating someone, you really, I give this advice, at least 2 years, at least minimum 1 year, to see who is this person. The romance is gonna die away. You
Yeah.
gotta know who you're gonna get in bed with for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And so I sorry to cut you off, but I just wanted to point that out. That was such a great word. I wanted to give an example.
And you talk about lens. It's so important that we switch off our emotional lens when we're looking at red flags and really replace them with the logical, because that's how we're gonna really see the person for who
they
they
are.
really
Yeah.
are, without
on.
any
Preach.
factors there to play, like emotion, bias, da 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 da. It's so important that you really see the person for who they really are, and recognize what you can work with and what you can't work with. Because if you say, oh, the way I give an example, superficial, I know, but the way they eat is really not okay. Like, am I going to work with that, or am I not gonna work with that? Even though I love them, am I really gonna be able to like stand the way they eat for a long time? Because that could really
The
become
way
a problem.
and see, the thing about it is, like, over time, true identity is shown.
Yeah.
Like, you can try to look
The
good,
layers peel off.
but people gonna start getting comfortable.
Yeah.
You know how might hear him say, "Hey, go do this." Hey, wow. Do you talk to me like that? He must mean that he really is serious.
Yeah.
And you didn't see that.
Yeah.
But coming 20 years down the road, 5 years down the road, that's gonna be how he communicates with
Wait,
you.
hold up. That is so good. Because I'm gonna speak for the women. Sometimes we, especially with men who don't really know how to handle women, the possessive people, we're gonna talk
I'm
about
like your
that.
boy.
And like sometimes it's so easy to become a victim of such like people with multiple red flags. And so you said, oh, maybe he's like, if he shouts at me,
serious.
maybe he's serious. And then you become the victim. You start to like shrink down and become small and try to elevate his personality and allow him to
what do I need to do
to please him. And so in that way of trying to get him to feel comfortable, or you shift yourself, or you change yourself in order to accommodate his behavior, not knowing that his behavior is actually abusive, not knowing that his behavior is not acceptable, but because you're so desperate for this kind of interaction, for this relationship, you start to find ways of, what's that word?
Paddling it and allowing this thing that's a clear sign to go on, and you give it an excuse, and you make it reasonable. And this happens a lot also in abusive homes, like when the husband is beating. Everyone in the world will say, hey, how comes you're beating your wife? And you tell the wife, hey, he's beating you, get out. He's like, no, that day I didn't cook the floor. There is no excuse for hitting a woman.
If you have a friend like that, please support that person. Make sure that, and sometimes it's hard because they want to be in those relationships for some reason. But when we talk about red flags, we have to acknowledge the fact that from red flags to you not being able to recognize them, or you recognizing and ignoring them, leads into you being able to accommodate those red flags and then becoming a victim of those red flags, and then you blame yourself for those red flags.
I shouldn't have done this.
I shouldn't have done that because now they did that and it's my fault.
Now, let me also stand up for some men. There's some red flags that women have. There's a controlling red flag. Like when you see her, she wants to have complete control. Or maybe not just men, but also women. Both sexes, they have a red flag of control and kind of like obsession and possession. Like where do you go? What do you eat? What are you doing? They want to be, they're obsessed with you. When that happens, that is a red flag. And how is that going to act in the future? It means you're dealing with someone who's crazy. And that's what red flags are. They're showing you that what you are witnessing is not sustainable over a long period of time.
And we're gonna dive deeper into what the tackling
each red flags individually,
itself. But here today, we just want to
open up our
mind and let you know what red flags are and what the implications of those long-term things can be. Like what the implications of red flags for a long time could be.
The thing about red flags, is that people who have been in long relationships, they realize them and recognize them, but it's too late. Someone being married for 5 years, and then she realized, I'm with a narcissistic person. And she's like, but I knew this.
But I saw it.
I saw this when we were dating. He would take me out. He would do all these things, but I didn't act. I didn't know, but now I'm in this situation. I'm here, and there's literally nothing I can do.
And I could have done something.
But I
didn't even know that thing was a problem at the time. I thought it was normal.
I thought it was normal. And what happens is once the love dies down, the romance, the excitingness, all these things kind of die out. You see from afar, and you're like, wow, this is totally unsustainable for my life. Like, how did I end up here? And that's what happens in so many marriages. Like, I see so many people in church, people getting married to sister who and sister what, brother Ani comes with his wife. And you're like, wait, you guys have been dating? He's like, no, we just seen each other. Sister Juliet. They just bring people and they get married. And you're like, but do you even know this person that you're getting married to? And that's why we see so much lack in the church. We see so many people like getting a divorce, and so many families that are ramshackled, so much pain.
And we're so eager to get people married, but we're not there to like support them. And
like,
give
what
them
is
the
marriage?
tools.
Like, what is marriage, dude? Marriage is doing life together with someone, the two becoming one. And one of the best things I love about my beautiful wife, yes, we've only been married 1 year, but I know this girl. I can tell when something's off. I can tell when something's on. And I've seen the red flags, and she saw my red flags, because I'm not perfect. She's not perfect. But we said, yes, we're going to recognize, we're going to address these red flags and see if we can change. And the best quality, can I tell you about the best quality of my wife?
I know what you're going to say. Let me think.
Okay, say what I'm going to say. We just said we know each other. What do you think my best quality for you is?
I think being able to communicate everything.
Come on, do better.
I'm open, transparent.
No. The best quality that I think you have.
My smile. I don't know. I think I'm a great communicator. But that's what you say all the time.
The best quality Joanne has is the ability to
grow,
retrospect, self-impulse. Look at herself and say, you know what, this is an issue. I need to grow. I need to change. And that was because everyone has red flags. Everyone has issues. Everyone has trauma. Everyone has things that they're going to bring into the relationship. But the best ability that you can find in a wife or in a spouse that you want to marry is the ability to look at themselves and to say, I'm doing this wrong, I need to change. I need to change. Like how Joanne says, I used to snap at her, and I had to make a decision. I'm not gonna snap at Joanne. She had an issue of
Not apologizing.
yes, she could never apologize. Never, no matter how bad it was or obvious she was.
I felt bad.
Yeah, she
but
felt.
I just felt like.
And that is a red flag. I don't know what that is a red
flag.
If your person is not
Red,
apologizing,
red,
and so
red,
this is what I
red.
said, Joanne, you need to learn how to apologize. And I gave her grace for it, and I said, but like, there was no way I would have entered a marriage, because I understand what marriage is. It's a lifetime commitment,
And it's forgiving people
and
all the
forgiving
time.
people. Yeah, it takes two good forgivers to have a great marriage. Because I know I knew I was gonna fail. I knew I was gonna make mistakes, so I had to learn how to forgive. And I knew she was gonna make mistakes too. But this girl,
I felt bad.
so this is how she does. This is how she says, I'm sorry. She'll say, is there anything you need? Can I help you? Like, she'll act so nice after a long argument, after silence
but
treatment.
I couldn't utter out.
But I was like,
the words,
okay,
I'm sorry.
And even the art of apologizing,
The
that's a
art
whole
was-
nother
was
episode.
not there.
The art of apologizing, it's not just saying I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's understanding I'm sorry for what? I'm saying I'm sorry for what? I'm sorry for this and this and this, and I'm sorry it made you feel this way. Not just I'm sorry.
And moving forward, this is what I'm gonna do to.
To change. I understand I did this. I'm going to change that and do this. Man.
And you can help me.
Help me in this and this and this. But that's a whole nother thing. We're still on red flags. But that was a major. You think I would never have married her if she never overcame that? So listen, red flags are there, but you can recognize them and develop them together.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of a good relationship, is that we're both growing.
Sprouting.
Bigger every day. We're becoming who God called us to be together.
Yes.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo! So, that being said, red flags is a huge topic.
And if you can avoid it or if you can work on it outside marriage, please do. Because inside marriage,
It's harder.
It's hard because you've already made a commitment. Outside marriage, you have the opportunity to say,
Bye.
Can I work with these things or can I not? But once you get in there, oopsies.
Oopsie daisy. Like, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
That decision of marriage is mega, 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 mega. So, understanding the red flags that you have, whew, big time. Sometimes it takes someone else to see you. But also understanding the red flags that they have,
and not ignoring them.
it will save you so much. So, to recap, red flags, stop signs, warning signs, and we have to have the correct lens to discover the red flags in someone,
To recognize them,
to recognize them,
to acknowledge,
to acknowledge,
and to
avoid,
or work on them.
recognize,
Yeah.
acknowledge.
Well, avoid can also be tricky because when you avoid it, you kind of put it in the back. But when you recognize, acknowledge, and see how you're going to work with them, with those red flags. Because when you avoid them, you're avoiding the whole situation. Avoidance is not a good thing. When you avoid a thing entirely, unless...
Like when you say avoiding, it means like not allowing it to interrupt your life. Like you're saying, I'm not gonna be with this person because they cannot change that red flag.
Okay,
It's not saying,
we needed to make it clear.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Avoidance means, oh, when he gets snappy, I'm just gonna avoid him. No. It means, okay, if he's not changing the way he talks to you, leave.
Yeah.
If she's not changing her unforgiveness, if she's not changing her attitude, like run, just get out of there. So
Yeah.
that is a good
I think
recap.
that's it. Run. Run.
Flee.
Flee.
But that is not to say there's no hope in marriage.
Yeah.
If you have red flags and so you're struggling with someone with
Some
red
red flags are worse than others.
Yes, definitely. But there's not to say there's no hope. There is hope in marriage. There's a hope and a future. It just means you're going to have to work at it. You're going to put some time and effort in and say, hey, I'm committed to this. It's just hard when you're doing it by yourself.
Yes.
So I hope and I pray that you get your partner to say, let's work in this together. Because life is a game of work.
It really is.
And building and becoming. So, like, guys.
It is work. Sorry, keep going.
Oh my goodness. We're trying to be serious over here. Listen, we are closing this episode, but we understand there's going to be so much more on red flags. And as you've noticed, we have so many episodes that we have, but we're going to be building up, building up, building up.
Next
And
one, we'll be talking about them in depth. What red flags are we actually talking about?
what are we talking about?
You know, like covision and all of
Covision,
these things.
obsession,
Possessiveness. The list
controllingness.
goes on. Yeah.
I mean, there's some petty red flags. I think we can
Like
we
the
can,
way people ate.
the way
I don't know
people
why
eat.
that's been.
Let me actually, let me tell. Is it because of me? Did I eat a funny way? I mean, you gotta let
No,
me.
I just feel like it's a thing.
Wait. Let me tell you some red flags that I saw. So me and Joanne, we dated like distance for a long time, long distance. And then we finally got together, and man, something that I could not keep
Work with.
was Joanne's deep attention to detail. I don't know if that's a red flag, but for me, it was it's not just a personal red flag. It doesn't account for everything. Everything had to be on point. The shoes, the hair, the place that we were going to, the car had to.
That's not. Sometimes that's. You know.
A perfectionism.
But
She had a
perfectionism
No.
is not okay.
No. Yeah,
I had excellence.
Yes. No, it's not. It was not excellence, Baba. It was not excellence. It was
Because
perfectionism.
perfectionism is not a good thing.
Yes, that's why it was a red flag.
Okay, so it changed to excellence.
It changed to excellence, and we can thank your boy for it, God, and thank me for that. Because oh my goodness, Joanne had a perfectionism.
If you're a perfectionist, we'll come back and talk about it. It's not a good thing.
What about me? What was a red flag? You don't even remember, because I'm just wow.
Guys,
I'm just wow.
This concludes our show.
I'm just wow. Good job, Baba. Give me a hug. You're gonna